Let's check in with Alex with some of the latest transfer stories making headlines today. Good afternoon, Alex.
Good afternoon. The sun has just come out here at the Vitality. We've had all seasons in one day. It absolutely poured down around about an hour ago. But it feels like the first day of the domestic season, even though it's July the 31st.
We touched on it briefly just then, Alex, but let's get straight into Grealish. The £100 million bid, will it be accepted? Where are we at with that deal now?
I think it will be accepted. I think the vibe coming out of Villa Park this morning is that they will reluctantly agree to sell their captain should he desire to relocate to Manchester City. I think the final decision will be with Jack Grealish. When I spoke to you guys last weekend, I was hearing that maybe he wasn't completely sure. Would he be a regular first-team starter? Does he have it in him to walk out on his hometown club? I think now he's leaning towards what a fantastic opportunity this is to go and play for Pep Guardiola, to go and play for the champions, to go and play for one of the best teams in Europe. And I think that move probably will go through now. If he does decide to stay at Villa Park, then that new contract will be on the table. But as we sit here now, I think Jack Grealish very likely to become the first £100 million player in Premier League history.
Where would that leave Harry Kane, Crookie? Obviously, that's all gone a bit quiet there. Will they have enough?
Well, it's an interesting debate that. Dan Windle, our host on talkSPORT 2 this afternoon, has just been telling David Connolly and myself that he would take Grealish over Harry Kane. I don't think it's ever been either or, and this really does change the face of the game in terms of Manchester City's business model. They want Grealish and Kane, and if they can still get Harry Kane out of Tottenham, I think that will be more difficult negotiating with Daniel Levy than it has been with Aston Villa over Grealish. Then I think they will still like to get that deal done. If that does happen, I think the other 19 clubs in the Premier League may as well pack up and go home.
Couple of Tottenham fans here, obviously, Crookie, and we're reluctantly speaking Arsenal just signed Ben White. Any more movement, any more transfers going on at Arsenal?
Yeah, it's been a really interesting window, hasn't it, for Arsenal so far? Splashing the cash all over the place. They still want Aaron Ramsdale from Sheffield United. Bournemouth, who we're going to watch this afternoon, have a vested interest in that one because they have a sell-on clause on any transfer fee over the £21 million that Sheffield United agreed to pay them this time last year. He's keen on the move. My understanding is that there were interest from two other Premier League clubs in the form of Burnley and Watford, but he only wants to go to one of the top clubs in the country. They're spending money, Arsenal. They're also interested in the Inter Milan forward, Lautaro Martinez, is my understanding. He would cost a princely sum as well. I think they'll probably have to get players off the wage bill before they can really look to pursue that deal actively. Alex Lacazette could be one of those they could cash in on. I know this time last year he was attracting interest from Italy, and I think Eddie Nketiah definitely is a player now who is surplus to requirements. And Granit Xhaka, what about him? We thought he was off to Roma to side for talkSPORT's Jose Mourinho. Looks now, on the back of his very impressive performances for Switzerland at the Euros, that he may well stay at Arsenal and sign a new contract.
Wow.
Yeah, that one's come a bit out of the blue because it seemed like he was absolutely a dead cert to leave the football club, as you mentioned, in the Euros, especially the game against France. I thought it must have been his brother or cousin because he did not look like Granit Xhaka, did it, Alex?
It was his blonde-haired relative. I think he actually made it into some teams of the tournament. That's how good he was for Switzerland. There is a player there, isn't there? It's frustrating because he does have ability, but he just hasn't shown it on a regular enough basis for Arsenal. But I think certainly his performances at the Euros have forced a change of heart there when it comes to Mikel Arteta and making a space in his team for Granit Xhaka.
Absolutely. Alex, we were speaking to Spanish football expert Terry Gibson on the Sports Bar the other night about everything happening in Spain, and he was telling us exactly how good Jules Koundé is. How confident are Chelsea with trying to get him over the line? Because he was like, they need to go all out and get him. He's that good.
Yeah, I think that's the plan from Chelsea. It seems mad, doesn't it, when you look at the amount of money they spent last summer, that they're willing to go big in the transfer market again. They would pay top dollar for Erling Haaland if Borussia Dortmund wanted to sell him. Doesn't look like that one is going to happen. But Jules Koundé, I think, very likely now to end up at Stamford Bridge. Could have gone to Tottenham earlier in the window, only wants to go and play in the Champions League, and those two clubs are deep in negotiations now. I think personal terms have already been pretty much sorted out. The question now is, will Kurt Zouma be part of that deal? It could be Zouma plus cash for Jules Koundé. That will have knock-on effects for Tottenham because Kurt Zouma, having missed out on Koundé, is one of the players they are now looking to try and bring in because Nuno Espirito Santo needs to revamp his squad.
Yeah, it'll be very much worth it. Crookie, let's talk about Crystal Palace. I remember you and I having a discussion, and it was a bit concerning early on in the transfer window, but they're having a real go. Conor Gallagher coming in as well. Is there any more rumours of players coming into Crystal Palace?
Well, we spoke about Gallagher, didn't we, on the boot room last weekend. I think we all agreed what a good signing he would be. They've fended off interest from the likes of Newcastle and Leeds had a really good season at West Brom. They paid top dollar for 2 central defenders as well. And I think it is interesting because, again, it's unlike Crystal Palace, isn't it, to splash that cash.
That's what dreams are made of for the Palace fans, I tell you. There's the rumour about Dan Juma as well, Crookie. Is there any news on that one?
Well, interestingly, it's just been pointed out to me that Dougie Freedman, Director of Football at Crystal Palace, could well be here at the Vitality this afternoon. Now, I doubt he's watching any of the MK Dons players. Dan Juma, they've already rejected 1 bid from Villarreal. I'm told by people very senior here at Bournemouth that if they get a bid of £20 million, they are willing to sell Dan Juma. Very Wilf Zaha type player though, Darren Ambrose. I wonder where he would fit in there, or does that raise fresh question marks maybe about your mate?
Potentially, I think you're right. Obviously, Elise coming in. I think he's starting the season injured. Eze's injured until the new year, potentially. And Dan Juma, I mean, I don't think that anyone's going to have enough, or they're going to be willing to spend the money. I don't know what you think, Crookie. How much do you think would it cost to get Wilfred out? 40, 50 million? I don't think people are going to do that.
No, I agree. I know you're a massive fan, and again, he is a very talented player. But for me, the statistics don't back up the sort of £50 million valuation. I don't think he scores enough goals or creates enough goals for one of the big clubs to go and pay that. And I do wonder if he sort of handcuffed himself to Selhurst Park by signing that big deal a couple of summers ago. But Crystal Palace were one of the teams, Darren, as you know, that I had earmarked for possible relegation candidates. I'm still not entirely sure that when Roy Hodgson left, the plan was to bring in Patrick Vieira, but what we are seeing is they're bringing down the average age of the team. They're investing in youth. It could be an exciting season.
It's exciting because the start of the season starts right here, right now.